We've done 309 episodes of this podcast. This is episode 310, and we've helped thousands of artists from all over the world make better recordings from their jam spaces and home studios. And now things have to change. We just came to that conclusion this year. This podcast is not going to go away, but it will change, and we will just make it a lot better in many ways. My name is Benedikt Hein. I'm a full-time mixing engineer. I work on 200 to 300 songs every single year here at my studio. The studio is called Outback Recordings. My team and I have worked on thousands of songs over the years. Those songs have gathered millions and millions of streams and video views over the years. And we're also doing this podcast, the Self-Recording Band podcast, and we're working with artists one-on-one and in a group coaching setting inside of our coaching program, the Self-Recording Syndicate. This is what we do, just so you know. We're not content creators. We're actual producers and mixers doing the thing every single day. That's why we feel qualified to talk about this, and that's why so many people trust us. And if you want to check out some of my work as a mix engineer, you can go to benedikthein.com anytime and have a listen to my portfolio and look at the records that I've worked on. So I'm not telling you this to brag, but it's important for me to share some sort of proof also, and to give you a reason as to why you should listen to this podcast or give it a try, at least give it a chance, because I know there are many content creators out there who might, share good advice, but who also don't have the real world experience necessarily. This is a thing across all kinds of different niches and things on YouTube. So there's always the professionals who are also doing content, and then there's the content creators with little to no actual experience. And it's important for me to, whatever I do with coaching and content and all that, I always want to be an actual working professional. And I want to just share from my experience so that other people can do the same. And I started out as a self-recording artist, just like you are, and then turned a full-time audio professional. And this whole journey has been incredible. And I'm so grateful for all the things that I got to do. And I want to just help a lot of people do the same thing. So here's what's going to happen. First of all, we decided that we want to bring in different perspectives more than ever. So this podcast is going to be an interview-only podcast in the future. So we're going to take a break now. We're going to come back, and then it will be an interview-only podcast. So that way, we can share even more stories of artists just like you, of self-recording bands who made exciting records on their own. There are going to be some hybrid approaches. There are going to be some that have worked with producers and then also made records themselves, and then we can compare. There will be some that have been exclusively DIY all the time. And then we're also going to bring in a lot more producers, audio professionals, music marketing professionals, just other people from the industry, so we can share their perspectives, their approaches, their philosophies, and it's not just us talking to you all the time. So that is one thing. It's just going to make it better because we've shared everything we know in more than 300 episodes. And we can always talk about different angles and different, approaches to the same thing. But in general, if you are a follower of this podcast, if you've listened to what we've done so far, you get our philosophy and our approach. You get kind of how we make records and all the things we were sharing here. So it's time to bring in more fresh perspectives, different perspectives, other experts from the industry. That is one thing. The other thing is that we not only want to make the podcast better, but we also want to make our coaching better. So if you're a listener of this podcast, you will be aware of the fact that we run a business here. It's not just a free podcast. It is also a coaching program that we run. So we never monetize the podcast itself. And so we make a living making records, of course, but also by coaching people, by working one-on-one with self-recording artists that we guide through their projects. And we want to make that coaching even better. It has already helped hundreds of artists worldwide, and we'll continue to do so. And it's a lot of fun. It's awesome. But also, if we're making records full time, it's very important to us to not just be content creators, but be actual producers and mixers who make records all the time. This is very, very important to us. And of course, that takes a lot of time. We're mixing songs all the time. We're producing songs. We're working on like hundreds of songs every single year here with my team. And then we also coach people, like I said, and we make content for the coaching program as well, because part of the coaching is that we create guides and tutorials and in-depth things that we share with our coaching community, in addition to supporting them one-on-one and doing calls with them and all that. And so whenever I sit down and I need to make a new video, a new what we call playbook or tutorial or resource for the program, I'm always thinking like, well, I need to come up with a topic for the podcast and cover that. And then I also need to do the coaching content. And I'm like, if I sit down and talk about a subject, an audio subject, I want to show it. I want to show audio examples. I want to share my screen. I want to do things, and I want to make it as valuable as possible for the coaching. And so it's very hard, in addition to that, to also do that for the podcast, especially since most of our people listen to the podcast and don't watch the podcast. So, you can only do so much in a podcast only format. And so I just thought, well, you know what, with the content creation, let's fully focus on the content that's inside of our coaching program, and let's serve our people in there, our coachees, even better, with better playbooks, better structure, better content, better coaching, and all of that. And let's do the free content in a different way, which means like tutorials and guides and all that. Like we've done 300 plus of those, and some of them more actionable and with like examples. Others were just like us talking about it. But we said like let's bring in other people. Like I said, let's do an interview format, because that works super well as a podcast. That works well on YouTube. Without the need to do a full production kind of, tutorial style thing and then have to do it twice. And then where's the difference between what we share on YouTube versus what's in the coaching and all those things. But we want both of those to be as valuable as possible. So even the people who don't hire us to be their coaches, we still want this to be an awesome, show that they follow and that they can learn a lot from. And the best way to do it is by asking really good questions to people who know what they're doing, and to bring in like by bringing in different perspectives, like I said. So the podcast is going to be only interviews, and the coaching is going to be the tutorials, the playbooks, and the actual coaching. That way I can make both of those things better and more interesting. And that way I can also share more inspiring stories from people that we've either worked with or from well-known self-recording artists. So, like I said, industry experts, producers, mixers, and all of that. We've had a lot of like Grammy winners and platinum engineers and like big names from the music industry already on this podcast. And I always love those interviews. I always love those conversations. I learn from them every single time. Our audience loves them. It's just a good thing to do. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be rebranding. You're going to see a new podcast artwork as well. We're going to do a couple things in a different way. We're going to schedule a lot of interviews in advance so that there's not going to be gaps in between episodes. We're going to be very consistent again with this. And we also want you to tell us who you would like to see and hear on the episodes. So if you have a favorite self-recording band, or if you are a self-recording band who's done great things, or if you have a favorite producer or someone else from the music industry that would be helpful and valuable to our audience, let me know. Please let us know. We're going to reach out to those people. We're going to make those interviews happen. We can never promise to get anyone on the podcast, but we're pretty good at this. We have a pretty good network. We're well connected in the industry, and we're happy to bring the people to the show that you want to hear about or hear from. So please send us your suggestions for guests for the show, and maybe you will be a guest on the show as well. So yeah, just let us know. Send us an email. It's podcast@theselfrecordingband.com, or just comment below this video if you see it on YouTube. The podcast will continue to be both on YouTube and all the podcast platforms, the podcast apps. And I can't wait for this new chapter. I can't wait to talk to even more exciting people. I can't wait to learn and hear from different people. I can't wait to hear their frameworks, their approaches, their philosophy, which we can then also turn into better content for the people that we're working with inside of the coaching program, the Self-Recording Syndicate. By the way, if you're interested in that, you can apply for this anytime at going to theselfrecordingband.com/coaching. So if you do that, there's a an application form that you fill out. This gives us details about you and your music, and we can check it and see if you're a great fit. And then if you are, we're going to have a conversation, a free call, where we talk about your situation, your goals, what you're trying to do, what you're struggling with. Along the way, we'll outline a roadmap draft for you, a plan, a step-by-step thing that you can follow. And then if you decide to implement that plan with us, awesome. We're going to work together. And if not, you just got an hour of free coaching on this call. So if that sounds cool to you, and if you're interested in working with us, please go to theselfrecordingband.com/coaching. Yeah, so I'm very, very excited for this new chapter and for what's to come. Please send us your guest recommendations or suggestions, or your list of people you want to see and hear on this podcast. And yeah. That's, I think, all I have for you today. So if you're just discovering this podcast, by the way, if you're new listener to this, or you've just discovered it on YouTube, go through our backlog. There's 309 episodes on all the different topics that go into audio production, music production. We've talked to so many great people already. We've done so many episodes ourselves. There's a huge backlog of things. If you go to the selfrecordingband.com/podcast, you'll find all the episodes and the detailed show note pages there. There's almost always additional resources in the show notes and free downloads and like links to the people we talk to and related episodes where you can dive even deeper. There's blog posts and all kinds of things. So if you go to the selfrecordingband.com/podcast, this is where the podcast lives. And then you can find this on all of your podcast apps, of course. So if you're just discovering this, go through the backlog, enjoy all the stuff there. And yeah. Thank you so much for being a listener for such a long time. If you've already been with us for a while, we've been doing this for many years now, like 7 years. Coming out, like I think 7 years this year. Sometime this year it will be 7 years, which is wild to me. And we're not stopping. So yeah, enough with this. It's a very short episode. It's just an announcement, basically. I cannot tell you for sure how long the break's going to be. We will take a little bit of a break. We'll schedule interviews in advance. We'll come back with a rebrand and a fresh look and all of that. And then we're going to restart, and we're going to enjoy human interactions and conversations, because especially now in the age of AI and all that, I think real humans collaborating, talking to each other, learning from other humans, and improving all of our art and the way we communicate through our art, the way we get our messages across and all that is going to be even more important. And I just want to do more human-to-human interaction things. That's also part of the reason, I think, why I'm switching this. All the reasons I mentioned, but then also the fact that I'm with my team. We're like in the studio alone all the time, mixing stuff, working remotely with people. And that's great. And we have the coaching where we collaborate, of course. But the more I can interact with actual humans, the more conversations I can have with interesting people, the better it makes me feel, the better my art gets and my own craft gets, because I get to learn from more people. That's also the more selfish reason as to why I want to do the interview format. So it's exciting, and let's grow this community. Let's grow this podcast further. Share it with a friend if you enjoy it. Leave us a rating and a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you've enjoyed the show so far. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Hit the notification bell. All the good stuff. You know how it works. Do that if you want to support the show, and I'll see you on the next episodes with a fresh start and the amazing interviews that we're gonna do here. All right. Thanks so much. Talk to you next time.